evening. Tenders for the sale of Dunedin's main post office building have closed with none considered acceptable. However, New Zealand Post says its agents are negotiating with interested parties. New Zealand Post is planning to build a new postal centre in the city more suitable to its needs. Parents and guardians of intellectually handicapped people at Cherry Farm are worried patients will end up in the community without proper care. The concerns come after last week's announcement by the Otago Area Health Board that they'll be moving patients into the community, leaving only a handful at Cherry Farm. Sally Pearce has the details.
Some of the intellectually handicapped patients at Cherry Farm who could be moved into the community suffer from severe disabilities. Parents and guardians are concerned that ads like this one don't realistically portray that to the public. Those at Cherry Farm have multiple handicaps, behavioural problems, and are not always easily managed. The parents and guardians want assurances from the board that if or when patients move into the community, they'll receive proper care.
We want guarantee of funding for lifespan care for our clients out in the community. Especially we want guarantee of qualified staff.
In a letter to Heather Maxwell dated June 15th, Otago Health Board Chairman Michael Cooper said the board resolved to accelerate the relocation of patients into the community. But he went on to say no one will be transferred who does not wish to or whose parents or guardians oppose this. Board member Joan Plunkett echoed this during a visit to Cherry Farm.
Professor Cooper has assured everybody that nobody will be put out into the community until everything is ready for them, everything in place. And I can assure you that I feel the same way, and we've made that promise and we'll keep it.
Heather Maxwell says parents and guardians have a good rapport with the board, but regarding relocation, neither they nor staff at Cherry Farm had enough input.
I think it could have been handled better by discussion with the parents. After all, we've been told time and time again that that any proposals to transfer residents to the community or any contracts would be discussed with us beforehand. This didn't happen, nor did it happen with the expert staff at Cherry Farm.
Well, it's not going to happen overnight. It's a process of ongoing communication and negotiation and discussion. But no one with an intellectual disability who's currently resident at Cherry Farm will be moved into the community unless they themselves wish it and their parents wish it.
The relocation of over 100 patients will begin as soon as possible. Places for more severely disabled under consideration include Wakaari and Parkside.
A big donation's allowing a pioneering study into the extent of Parkinsons disease in Dunedin. The crippling disease is thought to be much more common than realised, and the Dunedin study will help to show its real extent. Michael Lynch reports.
It's taken years, but the energy of a Dunedin group is about to shed light on one of the loneliest of diseases. Parkinson's disease, it's the old and the not so old. No one knows the reason, no one yet has the cure.
Years past, it's been swept under the carpet as an old person's disease, and now it's coming out in the open and people are starting to take a bit more notice of it.
But it's only the persistence of the Dunedin group that got the study going. Research grants tend to go to more glamorous projects.
I've tried to get funding, but we have failed approaching the statutory funding bodies.
Why?
I think it's a matter of priorities.
Is this not a gland disease?
Not at all.
Parkinson's may mean the shakes, it may mean stiffness or total fear of falling. Either way, it's tough on both the sufferers and the people looking after them.
It's very important to actually document the stress. We're also in the study actually going to document the psychiatric and psychological problems of both the people with Parkinson's disease and their caregivers. And then we can work out what the best interventions are to reduce the stress levels.
It's expected this survey will uncover dozens more Parkinson's patients, for neither the public nor GPs are fully awake to it. But the sufferers are philosophical.
It's a disease which gives a person a bit of humour.
I try to take every day as it comes along and make the most of it.
And that seems the motto of the Parkinson's group. They help themselves to help each other.
Some central Otago farmers are damming a series of reports on their irrigation dams. The reports, prepared by the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries Technical Branch at Invermay, reveal that it'll cost millions of dollars to bring these dams up to modern safety requirements. And Kim Haring reports some of the irrigators who were about to buy the dams off the government are now changing their minds.
In summer, irrigation is the lifeblood of central Otago. Much of the prosperity of this area is due to some well-placed water. At this time of the year, it's hard to see the need for it. In line with user pays, Treasury is offering these dams to the irrigators at undisclosed negotiable prices. But irrigators say bargains they are not. This is the Lower Mannaburn Dam, designed and built nearly 60 years ago when safety standards weren't as strict as they are today. It's now described as a thin arch. To bring it up to modern-day standards will cost the 12 irrigators that rely on it $1.3 million. Add to that the actual cost of the dam and future maintenance, and it's out of the range of the irrigators' pocket money.
We were quite sure in our mind, there's no difficulty whatsoever. When we come back 20 years, 50 years, or even say 1,000 years for that matter, Galloway scheme would be still there until this dam report came along. And that really upsets whole things, because there is no way that the Galloway people, which is a small community, can hold the dam up on their own.
The alternatives are to pull the dams down or convince the regional authority to take them over. That's an option that's favoured by the Acclimatisation Society.
I think that the Central Otago reservoirs are underestimated, as their importance is underestimated as far as recreational use is concerned. They're very, very important fisheries, and there are quite a large number of them, and they have extensive use in summer from a lot of people who are visiting Otago as well.
The upgrading costs in these reports are based on safety standards which don't actually exist yet, but are expected to become law in a few years. The Fraser Dam, for example, would cost more than $11 million to strengthen. But even those who live below it believe the standards are too stringent.
You can't build everything to a no-risk standard, otherwise it's prohibitive. Now, the earthquake that would bust the like of that would certainly flatten the Auckland Harbour Bridge and half of Wellington.
When it's cold enough, Alexandra people can step off the artificial ice skating rink and onto the natural sheet of ice that's formed above the Lower Mannaburn. But if this dam's pulled down, the skaters and fishermen would be left high and dry.
That is, in my book, is criminal, if that have to go. It's a beautiful lake. It's not so beautiful today, but you come here in the middle of the summer. It is a diamond of a thing.
Treasury would like to have washed its hands of these dams by September, the start of the irrigation season. A Treasury consultant has hinted that farmers will be able to strike a very good deal to take over these ageing monoliths. But the 12 irrigators of Galloway don't think so. They're now prepared to tell the government to keep its dam.
Have a lovely weekend. We'll be back Monday. Good night.